Hello there. Are you a creative person or do you want to be more creative? Do you struggle to get your ideas out? Or you're putting it off? Are you procrastinating? Well, this video will help unleash a well of creativity from inside of you, whether that be art, music, writing, melodic, farting, etc. Whatever your thing is, I will help you become more creative. If you're a professional or if you're just doing it for the love of it, in this video I'll share a revelation that will instantly make you more creative and also some great practical tips for improving your creations. Now, bear with me because I, for the first time in a long time, have actually prepared notes and I'm not just going to ramble off the top of my head. So if I'm looking and reading off the screen, that is why I've got a lot of notes to say and read through. So, before we get into the juicy tips, let me tell you a quick story to illustrate the point. And you can let me know in the comments if this situation sounds familiar to you, which I nearly guarantee it will do if you are a creative person. You've got a project, a deadline. It's due in a few days. You've set aside plenty of time to do it, unlike a Ryanair flight, which are always late. You've got everything organised, your desk is perfectly tidy. Marie Kondo would be jealous of your desk setup. Your apps are open, you're ready to work, and then you sit there and stare at a blank page. Your eyes burrow into it. Nothing comes to you. Your mind is more void than a black hole. Only scribbles and gibberish, making a 3-year-old's drawing look like a Da Vinci compared to what you have got on this page of nothingness. Just 17 minutes of brain farts, and so frustrated as Bill Burr in a traffic jam, you decide to try later and give up for now. And later turns into much later. It's now 57 minutes before your project is due. You've procrastinated for days and have done nothing. The panic provides you with just enough pressure to motivate your lazy ass and to create something, anything, scrambling together a rush job, a bad effort, a blindfolded chimpanzee could have done better. It's not great, but it is done and you submit it. But you're left feeling so unsatisfied, like getting a blueberry muffin instead of a chocolate muffin. Like you're not reaching your full creative potential. A world of creative ideas is waiting to burst through when you have these moments. You just can think of them all, but when it comes to actually sitting down and doing it, it's just And this was not good enough. You know it was not good enough. And the words of your father telling you to go and get a real job is now ringing in your ears because you know you can do better. Does that situation sound familiar to you? Because that was a repetitive thing for me constantly. I have gone through that process many times throughout my life. In a professional setting and in my own personal projects too. So, let me help fix this problem. I have the solution. And the solution is going to first come with a mindset change. And you're going to have to accept this. Writer's block does not exist. Artist block doesn't exist. I know we've all struggled with it in the past. Every single person has done it. But I'm telling you now, it does not exist. It's like Santa, the Tooth Fairy, or Proud Fathers. They just are made up fantasies. What you have is not writer's block. You have judgment block. You are judging yourself. You have not lost the ability to create. You are just judging yourself before you've got anything on the page. You're shit. That's not good enough. Your father will never love you. And so nothing comes out. It's like squeezing a brain. Sorry. Anything that is squeezed out from your brain feels like a crap stain on an overflowing porta potty. Stop judging yourself. Be free like a naked drugged up hippie at Burning Man. This is a judgment free zone. You gotta embrace that child. Be the inner child. Like a garbage grain drawing, it goes on the fridge because you fucking love colouring when you're 3. And you gotta stop judging yourself and just get in to the point of outputting really bad stuff. It does not matter if it's bad, because that you need to get something on the page. That is the most important thing, right? Let me tell you a story about when I made an album. My first album I made when I was a teenager. I was really into the piano, and trying to add in all these instruments because I wanted to have extra things to go with my piano tracks. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just plugging a microphone, a really crappy microphone, into the mic input of a laptop and putting it on the piano and hitting record and then recording other instruments on top of it. I did not have the right gear. I didn't sift through 17 pages of Google to find the perfect setup. I didn't spend a million hours watching YouTube tutorials. I didn't even know what like an interface was in. I just was doing things. I was just creating, and then I kind of like mixed it on like these skull candy earbuds I found on the dirty train station floor. The mix was terrible. It's like I had potatoes for ears. But I pushed it as far as I could with what I knew, and the music, it was good. It was great. It was like really, it was like I was so passionate about the music. I was pushing the limits of my creativity. I literally couldn't have made it any better with my current level of skills in the technical skills of recording it. I just loved making, and I wanted to make my music. And I used what I had and what I knew at that moment, which was not anything, a lot. And I loved every second of it. I was just allowing the creativity of the music part to speak for me. And it is the best music I've probably ever made in my entire life. I've made hundreds of tracks since past this. Way better skill sets, but in terms of the technical stuff, way better equipment and all of that, and yet I never have ever captured something in that moment. And other people also connected with that music so much better than anything else I did in the future since then. Now, I did go back and remix it a few years later, so it doesn't sound like it's going to burst your eardrums, more palatable. But anyway, the point was, I didn't judge myself. I just allowed me to create without the limits. And yes, I had the musical skills, but like I was just loving the creative. I didn't have the technical skills. I just put it out in the world, right? I just created it. I created it for me. I didn't create it for anybody else. I was creating it for me. Anyway, I wasn't judging my art. I wasn't judging my creations. I wasn't judging my music. I was just loving every part of creating. And now you can say I was very inspired in the moments, blah, 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 whatever. But the point was I wasn't judging, and you should not be judging yourself. True, you ain't Judge Judy, and you're not on Twitter. This isn't court, this isn't trial. You're not going to end up in jail or cast out or embarrassed or anything. Like, it doesn't really matter about this. Pro writers know this. Professional writers, they know this. But because what did they say? Like, never judge the first draft. And it's like the first pancake in a batch. You know it's always going to be wonky. And like, you should cut that scarred into your skin like that Harry Potter cursed pen. You just like engrave it into you so you don't ever forget it. Never judge the first draft. You know, you can make it in the edit. Like, it's always made in the edit. And it's hard not to judge because we want to make good things. We want to make great things. But that puts a Snorlax in your path because you want it to be great, and you sit there with a blank page because it's not great. It's going to be terrible, right? You got to get the shit out, right? It's got to be bad first. But practice, not judging and just outputting a lot, just like so much bad stuff. And somewhere in that mess, somewhere in all this pile of crap, you're going to find elements of gold, is parts of inspiration. And you can turn those little nuggets of gold into something better, into something good. And you can make that better. But only if there's something on the page. This is like a big thing for me as a graphic designer. Often like I'm given these design briefs, and like the hardest part is just starting. Like, and I know for myself, like the thing I've got set things in there where like doodle some notes, some quick ideas, sketches, and then I'll like just fire something into Photoshop and get something on the page, because I know once I have something there, it's so much easier to then move it about and change it, even if I delete the whole thing, but it's just getting something on the page because it's like an iterative process, like, and it's so much easier to come up and flesh out and go in all these different directions once you have something on the page. It doesn't have to be good, and you can come up with a load of different terrible ideas, but like you need something on the page. And so like you want to be creating every day, the practice of creating, like instead of binge watching anime, swap out an episode for just creating something. Like the art of creating. You got to sharpen your skills like a knife. You can't be cutting things with a blunt knife, so you got to be sharpening your skills as well as like in the professional sense or even in your own personal sense. You need to practice creating, not just practice like the scales on the guitar, right, or the piano. You need to actually practice creating songs and creating, or you need to practice drawing something great, or you need to practice your design skills, whatever it is. But keep it simple. It doesn't have to be good. It can be so bad that it makes you want to drag your eyeballs over a rusty cheese grater. That is fine, but the creativity is unleashed once you do it all the time. You just become someone who easily creates. And then you find your nuggets of gold in there. So, when you want to make something good, it's easy to get those brain juices flowing. The neurons for the brain are literally becoming stronger because creating something becomes, by practice, it makes those neurons in your brain in those particular pathways fire stronger. And so, yes, you're going to have a load of bad ideas, but somewhere in that, there's the potential for good ones. And this is the problem, is like we get fixated on it has to be good. But forget about good, go through all the bad ideas. That's where you find it. And then, I also have this thing where it's like, particularly on my personal stuff, when I create something, I pour out my heart and soul. I put like hundreds of hours into this. I care too much about it. But you don't want to be precious about things like this. Now, this is when you've created something, I'm saying, and you've created something that you feel is good. But don't be precious. Like, Gollum is not a role model here. If you care too much about this one piece, you got to put it out there, share it, whatever, move on. I used to get so annoyed, so disheartened when I'd shared my art. I'd spent like so many hours, hundreds of hours, poured my heart and soul into it. It's like it meant so much to me, more than like the second coming of fucking Jesus Christ. And nobody cared. It didn't go viral. It never had barely any likes, especially as a teen, even in my early 20s and stuff. Like, I really did. I cared that people didn't resonate with the thing that I put so much time and effort and heart and soul into and all of that. But, the thing is, you've got to be in the game for the love of creating. And you've got to make the next thing and keep getting better, You never know what creation will actually eventually connect with people. So you just got to keep on creating, keep on improving. Don't get extra virgin, depressive whole because no one cared about your favourite piece. You have to let it go. You can like your favourite piece. You can be your biggest fan, right? And that is fine. But don't care too much about one piece. And like, this is where I went wrong. It's like, instead of creating more and more and more and more things and music and whatever, I was like this piece, everybody like this one, like this is the one, you gotta like this one, this is my best thing ever. But like, it really wasn't. It was like, and that's probably the problem. It's like you get blindsided by it because in the moment you're just like, wow, it's amazing, like I've put all this effort in it. But nobody ever sees that. They just like instantly judge it. And for them, it's like it hits or not. So you've got to create way more. Anyway, that was a slight tangent. But like, another good tip I've got here is 100 ideas. And this is like, if you're struggling to come up with an idea for whatever it is you're trying to create, 100 ideas. And you can write a list on a piece of paper, or you can do it on the computer. You don't have to make these ideas. You just have to come up with the ideas, right? To come up with the concepts. So it forces your brain. It's really, really, really difficult to do this. It's really hard. Like, come up with 100 ideas and you've got to go super fast. Don't overthink. Just write them down. They can be silly, ridiculous, not going to work, moonshots, etc., etc. The first 20, they'll be as easy as taking a little Pringle out of that can. The last 20 will be like squeezing blood out of rocks. But somewhere in the middle, you're going to find some nuggets of gold. It will be like, actually like diamonds, not even gold. Like, you're going to find something great. Maybe in 70, 80, 50, somewhere around there, you're going to find some like really potentially great concepts. And because you're going to push all these different ideas and you're going to have to really go fast. Anyway, try it. It's hard, but it's 100% works every time. Also, got to remember that the creative process is iterative. Ideas aren't static. They bend, they grow, they morph. And you find inspiration over here, lots of wild ideas, push the limits, combine things in interesting ways, refine these concept downs, expand in new directions, contract into best parts, repeat it over and over until it's great over multiple sessions, stepping away, coming back many times, letting the idea develop and blossom. Rarely does anything ever happen in the moment. I know that like we like to wait for this like moment of inspiration, and like that's where like all these great creative people talk about like they were just sitting there and then like the universe talk to them. But the universe is very unreliable. Like when lightning hits, great, but like you cannot count on that happening every single day, especially if you become a professional creative. Like you cannot rely on that. So you've got to make a habit out of daily doing it, like brushing your teeth or making your bed or remembering to breathe. You got to make it into a daily ritual, a habit of you doing it. You cannot wait for inspiration. And then you're going to have iterative ideas. It's not just going to happen in this one moment. You're going to step away, come back, change it completely, go in one direction, then be like, this is the terrible direction. I'm going to go in a different direction. That's all part of the process. You can also do limitation challenges. You know, this may be not for the actual final thing you're going to be creating, but just again in the practice stage of it, your creativity. You know, make a song with a ukulele only, or painting only one color, or design, you know, including for the ukulele, like including the drums and the guitar parts and all of it, you know, like the bass, and like every single part of it has to be using the ukulele or whatever, right? Or paint with only one color, design with only one font, no images, you know, whatever you create, confine yourself to limits, time limits as well. And like when you do this, you kind of enter into a flow state. Like you've taken one of those pills from the movie Limitless and you're just like, and you can kind of like, it just allows your brain to flow out better and try different things and move things in different ways when you limit yourself down. And it's very good for, again, the practice of creativity. And then that's where you, again, can find some nuggets of gold to then turn into something great later on. But like the main part, the main big thing that most people need to get through their heads is to stop judging yourself and create more. Stop judging yourself and just create so much more. Just imagine where you will be 1,000 creations later, not 100, 1,000 creations later. You're going to be so much better if you can allow yourself to just create without any sense of judgment, whether it is good or bad. It can be terrible, but just start creating so much more. And hopefully, after that 1,000 creations, you will not be in your parents' bedroom. Hopefully, you will still not be in your parents' basement at a moment where your dad will finally utter the words, "I'm proud of you, son." Thank you for listening. I hope that these tips were helpful for you. And have a fantastic day. I wish you the best of luck.